The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Woodinville, Washington, on your new fire apparatus. Please utilize this job number 32638 when referencing your vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start with the front bumper of your apparatus. Starting down on the left side of the image, passenger side, you'll find underneath the vehicle 2 closed tow hooks. Moving up onto the face of the bumper, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver side. Located in the center, you'll find 2 speakers, PA and siren speakers. Located directly in the center, you'll find your mechanical siren. Let's move up onto the body. On the outer edge of the body, you'll find your turn marker indicator. Inside of that, you'll find the headlight cluster housing the low and high beam headlights. The high beam is located on the intersection. Moving up from that location, you'll find a cluster of emergency warning lights. And located directly in the center over the Pierce logo, you'll find a grab handle. Let's move up now onto the windshield area. You'll find windshield wipers on each side of the vehicle. Up from that, you'll find on the brow 5 running lights. Located directly in the center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the top of the roof of the cab, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Within that light bar, you'll find directly in the center your opticom. As we move to the outer edges, you'll find your mirrors, which house a convex mirror on the bottom and a flat mirror on the top. Here's some close-ups of those images that we just talked about. You'll find the side marker once again on the side, turn indicator just in from that, and then your headlight cluster. Up from that location, you'll find your emergency warning light cluster. Out onto the side of the vehicle, you'll find a side-facing camera. In the stepwell, you're going to find the positive and negative battery terminal. And then just to the right in the image, you'll find the air shutoff and also the air inlet outlet, which is a combination. Let's move up from this location over the front wheel area where you'll find the shoreline inlet. This is a 120 VAC 20 amp auto eject plug. Up into the window area, you'll find your auto charging center. You do have some indications for high voltage, charging, low voltage, and fully charged, and also the battery voltage indicator, which is a digital readout. We're now at the rear section of the cab. We'll move just underneath this location where we'll find the manifold drain. Moving to the right, you'll find your foam pump discharge drain, and then also to the right, you'll find your foam pump intake drain. Let's now move up to the very top. We're going to identify some warning labels and also danger labels. First, this is an entanglement hazard because of hoses coming above. There is also an electrocution danger because of this being an aerial device. In addition, with a warning label here regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards while removing a pressurized cap. To the right, you'll find a fall warning regarding not to ride on the side of your apparatus while it's in motion. Down in the lower left, you'll find a mixed failure for your foam failure. When mixing different types of products, there could be a potential for foam failure. You'll also find a warning label here that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after receiving training. You'll also find a placard regarding your foam system and also a placard regarding your wattress. This is referring to the type of pump that you have. And then we'll talk a little bit later on about this placard, which is your minimum operation maintenance schedule. Down at the very bottom, you'll find your fire pump primer, a minimum of 1,000 RPMs for engaging that. Let's start back up at the very top with the pump intake. This is your master gauge on the left. To the right, you'll find the vacuum and pressure test ports. These are for when you're in test mode. They're currently plugged. To the right, you'll find your pump discharge. This is your master discharge pressure. As we move to the left to the red module, this is your Husky foam system module. There are instructions on the device itself. In addition, within the green system on and off button,
You do have a percentage of digital readout located in the digital section. You'll also have an increase or decrease. Those are the two gray buttons. And then to the right, you have a prime button if necessary, and also a system status. This vehicle does have a solid green system on, also a solid red for a valve position air, solid yellow for priming system, and also a flashing green indicating injecting the foam, flashing red low tank level, and flashing yellow refill your tank. Let's move to the right where you'll find your Tank Vision Pro. This is for the Foam A tank. And then to the right in the blue section is where you'll find your water tank. Let's move further to the right to the next module. This is your pressure throttle governor. At the very top, the arrow is indicating the black module. This is a speaker with an outer bezel that does allow you to dim the sound or decrease the sound. In the upper left, if illuminated, you'll find yellow check engine light. You do have a digital readout regarding your RPMs. To the right, if illuminated, it would be in red, and that is the stop engine. Moving further down, you'll find a blue menu button, which allows you to scroll through the various menus. The next section we'll cover here is all of your engine diagnostic information. Those are the individual icons. Moving further to the right, you'll find a red silence button, which will silence the audible alarm on the speaker on your left. Moving down, you have two options, either pressure mode or throttle mode, RPMs, and a digital readout regarding that module. To the right, you'll find a green indicator if illuminated, indicating that your throttle is ready to be engaged. And if you have presets, you may utilize the preset functions. You can see your owner's manual for how to program that. Down at the lower section, you'll find the idle button and also the throttle, increase or decrease. Let's move all the way to the right here. We've got a few switches and indicators. First, panel lights. This will activate all of the panel lights within the pump panel area. To the right, a red air horn switch. And then just beneath that, you'll find an indicator. If your pump is properly engaged, the pump engaged indicator will illuminate. That is just underneath that label in the green section. Let's move further to the right here where we'll find your engine cooler. This is a closed system, does not exchange with the engine, and also the recirculating line, which is also a closed system. Those are both twist, not pull. You'll also find your large diameter passenger side discharge in this area. And I would like to point out that inside this area, you'll find a 12-to-1 gauge. That's the increasing or decreasing whether you're opening and closing. To the right, you'll find an audible speaker with volume control in the upper left-hand corner of the speaker. And on the very far right, you'll find your tank fill location. Let's move to the left-hand side of the pump panel where we'll find our tank to pump. And then we're also going to find a fuel gauge that's going to indicate from empty, half, or full, and then indicate individual hash marks in between. You'll also find your Watrous placard indicating that you have a 1,750 GPM pump. You also have the model type, date that it was manufactured, and the transmission ratio of 2.46. Let's move further down now. This is your manifold drain. This is a twist, not a pull. Just beneath that, you'll find this warning label regarding foam failure. And then to the right, you'll find the auxiliary side female 2.5-inch inlet. On the left, you're going to find your foam draft tank fill location. If you're in the draft position, you should be connected just below that to the inlet area. Let's move further to the right. We'll identify some of the items here. First, starting with your primer for your fire pump. There are instructions below that you need to at least 1,000 RPMs while priming. Above that location, you'll find your pump drain. And then all the way to the top, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule. And then to the left, we'll find this pan door. We'll talk about the contents behind it in a moment. This is the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI test pressures. The GPMs are on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side houses the RPMs. The job number is in the upper left-hand corner. Let's move inside that first pan door. This is going to be your foam fill location. There are instructions on the actual door itself. Let's move now. You'll find grab handles. These are NFPA requirements, and their locations also for accessing or going aloft. Just beneath that, you'll find your diesel fill location. It is going to be a silver cap. There's also a sign here regarding ultra low sulfur diesel fuel only. As we move to the right, this is the crosslay area. You're going to find the number 1 crosslay and also a 2.5-inch crosslay. Those are both water and foam capable. Just beneath that, you'll find the speedlay location for those crosslays. Your DEF tank does have a lock mechanism on it to prevent any type of mix with gas or diesel. In addition, it's a blue cap. It's a 10 US gallon tank. Just a quick view here. This is going to be the dual wheels in the very rear. Let's first talk about some of the items at the top. We have 2 warning labels here regarding anchor failure, and make sure you read those prior to using those anchors. There's also some warning here that only trained personnel should operate this, and there is a tip over hazard. And then at the very bottom, once again, trained personnel should operate this vehicle. And we have a danger here because of those hydraulic moving parts. There is the ability of crush hazards. You'll also find a pressure warning indicator here regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards while removing a cap. Located in the center, you're going to find your aerial inlet, and then just to the right, you'll find the aerial inlet pressure. As we move further down, we're going to find 2 levers. First, the lever here, which allows you to lock the tiller and the tractor together. And then to the right, you'll find your aerial drain. Here's some close-ups of those images that we just talked about. This is your aerial drain. Aerial inlet. Let's now move further back. This is going to be an inclinometer from front to back from 0 to 5, 10, or 15 degrees. We recommend that you remain in the safe green area. You'll also find the emergency stop push button with an indicator light. To the left, you'll find a protected override switch. Located directly in the center, you'll find an emergency hydraulic power. And further to the right, you'll find your level assist. The next section down is going to house the passenger side stabilizer and driver side stabilizer. You'll find 4 functions within this. First, in-out function for the passenger side stabilizer, and then also up-down for the stabilizer on whatever respected side. You do need at least 4 green lights prior to exiting or moving to the next module for operations. These are the 4 green lights that you'll need operationally for safe operations. Let's move further back. The next set pan door, we're going to find some danger and warning labels here regarding high pressure fluid hazards and also tip over. This is going to be your aerial stabilizer or aerial function switch. To the right, you'll find the blue and green indicators representing the individually labeled below. In the upper right-hand corner, somewhat difficult to see in this image because of the exposure, but as we look to the right, this is the aerial emergency power or stabilizer emergency power. Select the switch to whichever direction you need. You also have brake lights and running lights in the very rear section of the tractor. Let's move up. This is just over the side stabilizer on the driver's side. This is the camera for vision of that stabilizer location. To the right, dunnage area at the very top of the vehicle, you're going to find your hydraulic generator oil fill location and also a sight gauge for your Harrison generator. General view here of the side of the apparatus, we'll find some side-facing scene lights. And then also over here, we're going to look up at the top of the ladder here. You'll find an additional light. This is going to be one of your tracking lights. As we move underneath, just to the rear of the stabilizer location is where you'll find your stabilizer pad. We'll now move through some of the compartments, but before we do, the stabilizers do have some warning labels here regarding crush injury and also electrocution. There is also within that stabilizer a side-facing emergency warning light, just as there is the electrocution danger when the aerial ladder is in the deployed position. In this compartment, I'd like to focus on the upper left-hand corner and also on the right-hand side of this compartment. Let's first start with some of the things that are in these locations, and then we'll also identify this has a toolbox located here and also a pull-out shelf, the release mechanism on the right-hand side. As we move to the upper left, this is going to be your generator Harrison control center. This provides you the information regarding amps for line 1 and 2, and also the frequency and AC volts and a mode button so you can push through those various functions. To the right, the blue indicating the outlet is a shore line and also a generator outlet. As we move through the generator panel, first you'll find the G1, which stands for the generator. It is also considered the continuous power supply rating, and that's the placard for this generator. You'll find them individually breakered, in addition with labeled. As we move through next to the next compartment to the rear toward the back of the truck, we'll start first with the pull-out shelves. At the very bottom, the black mechanism is a release. You'll also find a release mechanism for that black knob on the actual shelf pull-out. Let's move up to the very top. This has two knobs on it, indicating that it is a two-handed operation. Because of that shelf potentially being heavy, it does pull out and drop downward. You'll also find the release mechanism on the right for the next one, and then at the very bottom, the release mechanism for the pull-out shelf. As we move through the rest of the compartments here, we'll find that your compartments do have a recirculating system. At the very bottom of this compartment, you'll find your wheel chocks. They are folding wheel chocks. Located also in this compartment, a pull-out style drawer. It does move from the right is the release mechanism. The upper left-hand corner indicating once again a blue cover, indicating that it is shoreline or also generator outlet. Either it's a dual function plug. As we move through the rest of the compartments, the rear axle of the tiller position, you will find a 120 VAC 20 amp outlet. Moving up onto the ladder itself, you'll find your guidance mirror. Moving up onto the ladder, you'll find two on the passenger and two on the driver's side tip floodlights. Moving just downward, you'll find this release handle, which allows you to lower the waterway to a lower section on the fly section. Moving forward on the end of the tip, you'll find your master stream device. As we look at the grab handles gaining access into the tiller position, you'll also have at the very top side-facing scene lights, and then also a visual mirror at the very top, passenger and driver's side. You'll also find the fill location for diesel fuel fill. This is for your heating system in the rear of the tiller position. As we move around, you'll find additional compartments and roll-up compartment doors. We'll move around now to the very back section of the apparatus, and we'll cover some of the items within this area. Starting with the warning labels here, this is an entanglement hazard. The compartment just above the warning label is your D handle, which gains access to your large diameter hose storage. To the right, you're going to find a danger label regarding possibilities of electrocution. And then also just beneath that, we have two attachment points and we have anchor failure hazards. As we move through, this is going to be the large diameter hose compartment storage. Above your ladder storage, we're going to find your backup camera. Directly above the backup camera, we're going to find your traffic advisor. As we move all the way to the top of the tiller person's position, we're going to find a rear-facing scene light, and above that we also have running lights. As we move to the very base, we're going to find bottle storage location here, and then as we move inside the compartment which stores your ladders, on the left and right side of the compartment is where you'll find the label indicating what ladder is stowed in what locations. Let's go ahead and move to the very rear section of the apparatus where we'll take a look at those warning labels once again, and also danger. This is the danger regarding electrocution hazard. Beneath it is a warning regarding fall, and then all the way to the right is once the anchor failure. We also have in this area the brake, turn, and reverse, and then at the very top, emergency warning lights. We're to the side of the apparatus now, forward-facing camera located here just underneath the emergency light. As we move to the side compartment moving forward, dry deck material, ventilation system, and also adjustable shelving. This is once again a warning regarding fall hazard, not to ride on the side of the vehicle. And then just beneath that, same as the other side, you have a 20 amp outlet. Let's move up to the ladder itself. This is the compartment here that houses the tillerman's position. Once again, same access, either passenger or driver side access. As we look to the ladder itself, we're going to find a tip camera, and then also just beneath that you have the ability to control the nozzle from this point, and then also from the point located just at the ladder where the firefighter position would be. We also have on the passenger side the same mirror configuration for visibility for the tillerman's position. As we move forward through the rest of the compartments, once again, LED lighting, dry deck material, and ventilation within those compartments. Let's move into the next compartment. We do have a pull-out style drawer. The release mechanism is where the arrow is pointing. This compartment also houses a dual function blue plug. It is generated power and also shore power. Here's a close-up of that. Let's continue to move forward, and we'll find the next compartment. Once again, top shelf, 2 black release mechanisms on the right, requires 2 hands to release. It's a drop-down shelf. And then also just beneath that, you'll find a cable and also black release. That allows you to release one way or the other. At the very bottom of this, you'll find a shelf. That's the release mechanism down in the lower right corner. We're going to move one more section forward. Same thing, the release mechanism on the right-hand side of each of those shelves. This is the through compartment, so you can access those pieces of equipment from both sides of the vehicle. As we move just underneath this compartment, you'll find your stabilizer pads. And as we look inside the next compartment forward, we're going to find the recirculating timer. It's located in this gray box. You'll also see the fan blades here at the very top for your recirculating system, and then also the plug-in for that system itself. As we move to the passenger side again, you'll find on your stabilizers you have an additional camera here, and then also a warning regarding crush hazard because of those hydraulic moving parts. We're going to talk about what's in these 2 compartments here in the next set of images. Let's get just a quick overall look here at the side of the ladder. And then we'll move within those compartments next. This is going to be your stabilizer. We do have some crush injury warning labels here. And then also at the very bottom, we have once again a danger label regarding electrical hazard. As we move into those 2 compartments here, you'll find first some modules to gain access into this location. To the next one, you're going to find your passenger side stabilizer and driver side. This is the same module as the other side. Remember that you need 3 green indicators here indicating for safe operation. As we move through the section here regarding the warning labels here, these are once again anchor failure hazards, also pressurized capped hazards, and then also some warnings here regarding tip over hazard on how you should place your apparatus for operations. Beneath that, you'll also find some warning labels here that only trained personnel should operate this equipment once again, and that's only after you've read the owner's manual. Down the lower section here, we have a ball valve for your drain. I would like to point this out. This is your warning label regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures, and be cautious where you park your vehicle. Just in front of that, you'll find your wheel chocks located in the front section here. And as we move through, we'll identify first, starting at the very upper left-hand corner, your large diameter discharge. Moving to the right, a 2.5-inch discharge, all the way up to the very top. This is your cab lift. Got some close-ups of this here in just a moment, and we'll talk about those. And then as we move down further, you'll find 2 pan doors here to gain access behind the panel. We'll talk about what's in those spaces also. You'll also find your large diameter intake. That's the American flag Eagle, and then also the 2.5-inch passenger side inlet. Down at the very bottom, all your associated drains color-coded and labeled. As we move once again up top, large diameter passenger side discharge. Let's talk a little bit about this. This is your cab locks not engaged. This is an indicator indicating that your cab has been tilted and the locks have not engaged. Also moving into the cab lift, you do have a danger here, and also instructions regarding how to operate. This is the lower or raise select, and then you also have an activate switch, and then to the right you'll find a remote plug-in if you choose to operate this remotely. Close up here of the passenger side auxiliary inlet. We'll move forward once again. These are all of your drains. You can see they're color coded and also labeled. As we look inside the compartment, you'll find on the left the black switch is a light switch for inside the space. And then as we move forward, we'll find once again LED lighting and also adjustable shelving. We're now in the cab section, just to the rear of the cab section or rear wall. We'll talk a little bit about what's behind this. This is your power steering fluid. It's required to use ATF Dextron 3, and the fill location is where the arrow was pointing. We also have, once again, a fall, do not ride in this area also. There are going to be 3 access points here. First, the one that we saw just a few moments ago where your Dextron 3 is located. We'll move to the center, and then all the way to the other far end of the truck, which is going to be the driver's side. We'll talk about those items next, and then a sight gauge down at the lower section for hydraulic fluid. Let's take a look first at the center. This is there's no valve attached to this. This is your aerial hydraulic oil only. It does have a placard that indicates the oil type and also consistency. Let's go ahead and move just to the right. This would be on the passenger side. This is your hydraulic pressure. And then just in front of that, you're going to find your foam hydraulic oil reservoir. This is for your Husky system. We're up top now in the dunnage area. This is your water fill location for top fill. And then to the right, you'll find your foam fill for tank A. And there is a warning label here regarding foam failure and not to mix different brands, consistencies, or types. Let's move to the cab section now. Looking forward, we have two warnings here regarding slip, that this is a non-walking surface. As we move forward, you'll find your center mounted assist light for your person driving in the rear, the tiller position. This is going to be your Husky 3 foam system reservoir. We talked about that earlier. As we move through, we're now at the pedestal, base of the ladder, I should say. And then as we look to the right, we'll see your pedestal. You will see on the right, there's also some warning labels here that we've previously mentioned, and also some crush injury. At the very top, the white speaker here is your intercom system for the tip, and we'll go over some of the items here. In the pedestal, you'll find two doors. These doors here are access points. In the upper right-hand corner, it's going to be a little difficult to see in this image. This is one of those black audible speakers, and we'll talk about that. As we move to the very top section, this is your intercom system. It is the white with the black speaker face. You do have on the left a volume control with incremental volume, and then also a push to talk. In the upper right-hand corner, this is your wireless component or module, I should say, for your nozzle. Starting with the lid here, we're going to find this placard regarding your Ascendant 107 waterway dry with a 50-mile-an-hour wind condition. Just beneath that, we'll find the waterway charged 50-mile-an-hour wind condition, and then the charts underneath those. In addition, you'll find the monitor nozzle positions, and then beneath that, you'll find some asterisked information here. For example, asterisks could indicate icy conditions. As we move to the pedestal itself, we'll find your informational display located on the right-hand side. Moving to the left, you'll find the emergency stop, which will stop all actions. Moving further down, we're going to find your ladder tip lights. These are the lights that are located at the very tip of the ladder. And then we also have tracking lights, which will be down at the base. Moving up to the right-hand side, we'll find base tip lights, and then also your ladder illumination. The ladder illumination is going to be the lights that run alongside the base and also fly section of your ladder. Moving down to the left, you'll find the aerial speed. We have normal and fast. And then to the right, you'll find your emergency hydraulic power. And then we move all the way back up to the top. This is going to allow you to remotely aerial control activation, gives power to the tip. As we move down from this location, we're going to find a couple of modules here. First left, this is your stowed module, and you'll find that the light will indicate when it is properly stowed. Beneath that, you have nozzle control, and then to the right, you'll find your ladder control, which is extend, retract, right and left, lower and raise. Let's go ahead and now move to the area just beneath the controls, where you'll find the two access points. This is going to be for manual ladder movements. Here are the three valves, once again, for ladder movement. Moving down from this location, we're going to find a calibration. This is for an authorized service center to gain access for calibrating your ladder. On the right-hand side, you're going to find your inclinometer from -10 to 0 and from 0 to 80 degrees. Here are just some quick images here to identify items within the ladder area. You can see on the left-hand side of the ladder there was an additional roof ladder, and on the right-hand side you have additional tool storage. Let's move now to the tip of the ladder. You're going to find you have two fold-down steps for firefighter placement, and then just in front of those you'll find two chainsaw scabbard locations for storing your chainsaw. We'll now move to the tip of the ladder. This is the mechanism or release that allows you to lower the waterway from the tip to a lower section on the fly. This must be done when the ladder is stowed. Let's move to the left, where we'll find some controls here. Let's first start with the left-hand side with the lights for tip lights and then also ladder base floods. To the right, you also have a red stop action button. Close up here of the tip lights and ladder base floods, but let's look just inside the ladder area. You're going to find nozzle control, straight or fog, left to right, and then up and down controls. This is for the independent nozzle. Moving to the left-hand side of the ladder, we're going to find that stop button and then also ladder controls for extend, retract, right to left, and then lower and raise. There's also some dangers and warning labels here regarding electrocution hazard, tip over, or structural failure hazard, in addition with operator attention information. This is also equipped with a intercom system. The very top is the speaker, down at the bottom is the volume adjust, and then to the right is the 20 amp plug. Here's just a general view from overhead looking straight down, kind of get an idea where all components are located. Let's go ahead and move just inside the cab area. You'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid, and then let's just take a quick look back, general view here, steering wheel column, and then we'll talk about some of the items within this area. Let's start on the left-hand side of the steering column, which are your fan controls, and then also your climate control on the left and right. On the left and right side also, you're going to find your defense zone cameras, and then just in front of that, you're going to find your FireCom system. I'd also like to point out a very important warning label regarding not wearing a helmet while operating within this cab. Serious head or neck injury may result from a helmet use within the cab. Also to the right, you'll find vents, and at the very base foot pedal area, you're going to find your warning buzzer. This is for communications: 1 stop, 2 go, 3 back up. Overhead, general view, push on and off red and white light in the very center. Let's move through some of the functions here. First, starting with that foot pedal activation. This is the warning buzzer. You also have an audible and also a visual indicator. You also have wiper control, intermittent wiper control, step lights. You do have a jackknife warning and also trailer ABS warnings. You do have a future switch location on the very far right-hand side. Let's move to the left, or I should say toward the center, is where you're going to find the wheel position of the rear wheels. You can see now indicating that they're all the way to the left. We also have a generator PTO, driver side scene lights, passenger side scene lights, tiller cab camera monitors. You can turn those on or off. Rear scene, driver's side tiller cab scene lights, passenger side scene lights, and also your cornering lights. As we move to the left, you can find your jackknife warning. This is a visual indicator, and then also beneath that is an audible. Just a general view looking forward from the seated position toward the front of the cab. As we move to the points of entry for all personnel, we're going to find a set of warning labels here. And then as we move just inside the cab, you'll find EMS compartments or storage compartments on the passenger and driver side. Inside those spaces, we're going to find in the roll-up section, this is 12-volt access for future 12-volt equipment, and then also your wireless router system. We'll go ahead and move through some of the items within the cab. You can see additional items mounted here. For example, your LED lighted here for your box light. There's also storage underneath the seats. And then also as we move to the front section of the cab, you'll also find additional storage. Let's go ahead and move all the way to the rear section. This is the rear wall of your apparatus within the cab. You can see 2 SCBA mounted seats located here overhead with your FireCom system headsets. Looking just in front of those seats, you'll find your daily checks access point. This is your daily checks for oil and also transmission. Let's now go ahead and move to the front section. This is going to be the officer area. Once again, a point of entry, so we're going to have these warning labels here. This vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag, and this is the warning label and also the information as to where the airbag is located. Also within that same vicinity, you'll find on the right, this is the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid, and there is also a glove box. Let's look to the left, and you'll find your computer mounting area. The 2 yellow handles are the release to pull it toward you. We'll start on the left-hand side of the console, starting with your air horn, mechanical siren. Those are 2 push buttons. You also have a protected parking brake. You also have 12-volt barrel-style access points, and then a vehicle data recorder. Just above that, you'll find your fire comm system. Here's a close-up of those images that we just talked about, air horn, mechanical siren, and your parking brake. Let's look overhead of this seated location. We're going to find this placard. It is yellow. It's manufactured by Pierce. It is the height 11 feet 2 inches, length 63 feet 9.5 inches, gross vehicle weight rating of 85,600 pounds. It does have the job number. If you make any changes to your apparatus, please update both of these on the driver and passenger side. You'll also find your siren brake, driver side scene, front scene, and passenger side scene. Next section down houses the emergency master, driver side tiller cab scene, rear scene, and then your passenger side tiller cab scene lights. When they're activated, they indicate by lighting up around the outer edge. You do have just to the left of this a digital readout speedometer, and then beneath that you're going to find your wireless FireComm base station. General view here of the center area. This is going to be your PA system and also siren control and also fans. Beneath that in the center console, you're going to find USB charging ports, and then just above that, generator instructions for how to engage your generator for operational purposes. And then also you'll find climate control, which houses your heat, air conditioning, and then all of the buttons for the fan controls. Up from that, you're going to find your directional indicator for your traffic advisor. Kind of a difficult to see in this image. Just beneath that, you'll find the passenger side window, driver's side cab window, passenger side cab window, 2 future locations, and then also a fuel primer. In the center, you'll find your USB charging ports. They're 2.5 amp. Above that, you'll find your climate control for heat and defrost, heat, and also air conditioning. Let's now move to the cab driver's area, point of entry. So we're going to have those warning labels here for firefighter safety. As we move about the right ankle floor area, we're going to find a set of warning and danger labels here, and also a yellow placard, which we'll talk about in a moment. On the left, you're going to find your mechanical siren foot pedal. Moving up from this location, we'll find your master battery switch. It is an on-off switch. Moving down, you'll find the green cap, which is going to be your engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port. To the right, you'll find a display port. And then further down, you'll find your tech module. On the left, there are 4 switches, your regen inhibit and ABS diagnostics. Let's go ahead now and move up from this location to the next module, which is going to be your pump shift. There are instructions here on the left for road to pump, and then also on the right from pump to road. As you can see on the left-hand side, there are 2 green indicators, one pump engaged and the other one okay to pump. Before exiting the cab for pump operations, you need both green lights. Let's move to the opposite side of the steering column, where you'll find your interaxle differential. You can see when it's in the locked position, you will get an indicator. This is your manufactured by Pierce Manufacturing placard. It has the date of manufacture at the top, the job number, cold tire inflation, gross vehicle weight rating, VIN number. It has also all of your fluid capacities, device, fluid capacity, and fluid type. General view here of the steering column. It is also a SRS supplemental restraint system within the steering wheel column. On the left, you have hazard lights. Just down from that location, you'll find your start and ignition switch. To the right, you'll find EM, which stands for Emergency Master, turns on all of your emergency lights. To the right, headlights and parking lights, and to the right to that, you'll find a panel switch for bright or dim your panel lights on your dash. On the left, you have your transmission oil, DEF level, and water temperature. In the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Located to the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front and rear air, information, diagnostic information above and below the speedometer. On the right, you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. Just beneath that, you're going to find a jackknife warning. This is a flashing light to indicate that you have jackknife possible warning. To the right, you have your warning buzzer indicating stop for 1 buzz, 2 buzz go, and 3 buzzes back up. Let's move down from this location, and slightly to the right, you'll find your Pierce command zone on the left. A tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. See your owner's manual for more information. This panel here, we're going to have our lockout cylinders engaged, Tillerman not seated, a load manager. Next section, you'll find your stabilizer camera, tire change, fan clutch, and also a diff lock. As we move to the next section down, we're going to find your electronic or air horn select switch, and also a front wheel lock, off-road traction, mirror heat. You have an engine brake. It's an on-off switch here, but to the right you have the adjustments for low, medium, or high on that engine brake. You also have some warning and caution labels just below that. On the right-hand side of the angle here, you'll find your mirror control for right and left mirror. To the right, you'll find your transmission shifter. Moving overhead of the operator seat, we'll start on the upper left-hand corner with this yellow placard, same as the passenger side placard, 11 feet 2 inches in height, 63 feet 9.5 inches in length, and 85,600 pounds for your gross vehicle weight rating. To the right, you're also going to find a set of switches. First, your generator PTO, high beam flash, momentary opticom, and an opticom switch. The next level down, you have aerial master, siren brake, and then emergency master. Let's move to the right. We have another set of switches, driver's side scene, front scene, and passenger side scene. As we move to the next set of switches down, we're going to find your cornering lights, driver's side tiller cab scene, the rear scene, which is at the very back of the apparatus, and then also your passenger side tiller cab scene. Located in the very center, we're going to find the 2 fans, and then also your PA speaker system, and also your siren control. Let's take a quick general look of the center of the cab. We're going to find some important items here that I'd like to discuss. First, starting with your seatbelt information. This will indicate when someone is seated properly, with a green indication that they are belted, red indicating that they are not belted. You also have a do not move your truck indicator located in the very center. You may have a compartment door open or ajar. Congratulations, Woodinville, Washington, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32638. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any future questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.